Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Ghanshyam Prabhu couldn't make it today. He asked me to continue on with the next chapter, which is chapter number 4. And it's titled as The Atrocities of King Kaṁsa. So we'll be going through the verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 4. So in the previous chapter, Ghanshyam Prabhu, he covered chapter 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. And in the previous chapter, right at the end, we were seeing in the last class of how Vasudeva, he carries Krishna from Mathura to Gokula, to where Mother Yasoda is. And we saw how Krishna, when he appeared in the prison, Vasudeva and Mother Devaki, they offer a series of beautiful prayers at the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna, we saw how he appeared as a four-handed baby in front of Vasudeva and Devaki. And Krishna, he reveals to Vasudeva and Devaki about their previous lives, about the benediction he had given them, and that for 3 births he will appear as their sons. And after that, Mother Devaki and Vasudeva, being overcome by their Vatsalya prem, or their paternal affection, they ask Krishna to please, change his form to just as a normal baby. Otherwise, Kaṁsa will soon come and take you away. And at that time, Krishna, he transforms himself to an ordinary baby. And then we were hearing how then Vasudeva, he carries Krishna from Mathura to Vrindavan or to Gokul. And at that time, Bhagavatam explains how Yogamaya, she puts all the watchmen who were guarding the prison of Kaṁsa to sleep. So everyone goes to sleep, and then immediately by the influence of Yogamaya, the shackles of Vasudeva immediately opens up. And all the gates of the prison, all the doors, they also start opening up. And then Vasudeva, he is free now to leave and escape the prison of Kaṁsa and make his way towards Gokul. Now, if you remember earlier on, in the first or second chapter of Bhagavatam, Vasudeva, he had given the promise to Kaṁsa if you remember, when the Akashvani came, that the 8th son of your sister is going to be the cause of your death. At that time, Kaṁsa immediately, and Bhagavatam explains, with his right hand, he takes his sword out, and with his left hand, he grabs hold the hair of his own sister, and is ready to kill his own sister. At that time, Vasudeva, he tries to pacify and stop Kaṁsa. And he tries different ways. He preaches to him philosophy, it doesn't work. And finally, as a last resort, Vasudeva, if you remember, he pacifies Kaṁsa by telling him that it is only the 8th son, or my 8th child, that will kill you. So there is nothing for you to fear now. And I promise you, Kaṁsa, that whenever me and Devaki have a child, I will immediately bring that child to you and I will give to you. And you can do with the child whatever you want. So that was the promise Vasudeva had made to Kaṁsa to pacify him. So the promise was, whenever I get any child, whenever any child is born, I would immediately come and give that child to you. And Vasudeva, he was especially known for his word of honor. Whenever Vasudeva made a promise, he would always keep it. He would never speak any untruth. Just like in Mahabharata, we see Maharaj Yudhishthira as an example of truthfulness. Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was famous, he was very well known to be very, very truthful. He would never speak a lie. He would never break his promise. So Vasudeva, he was like that. He was like Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was known for his word of honor. He was known to always speak the truth. So Kaṁsa, he trusted Vasudeva. Okay, this person, he has promised that whenever he gets any child, he immediately give. Okay, I trust him. And he let him go. He let Devaki go. But now we're seeing, although Vasudeva, as a personality, he's so righteous, he's so virtuous, he's so truthful by nature. Now in this chapter, we're going to see, or at the end of the previous chapter, we saw how Vasudeva actually, he broke his own promise. Although he was such a truthful person throughout his whole life, he didn't speak any lie. But now we're seeing he's going against the principle of truthfulness. He's breaking the promise that he had given to Kaṁsa. So from this we learn how devotees, for the sake of Krishna's pleasure, they are willing to let go of their nature and act in a way contrary to their own personality. So Vasudeva's personality is to just be truthful, very simple, Vaishnava. But now we're seeing he's acting in a duplicitous way. He is breaking his promise. Behind Kaṁsa's back, he is taking Krishna away. So he's acting in a very duplicitous way. He is breaking his own promise, although he is known as very truthful. But why is he doing all this? He's doing all this for Krishna's pleasure. He's doing all this for the service of Krishna. So this principle we'll see highlighted in the Bhagavatam. How devotees of the Lord, their whole focus is how to act and how to do something best for Krishna's pleasure. And Krishna Kaviraj Goswami, he explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita this principle as Krishna Sukha Hetu. This is the principle of Vrindavan. Krishna Sukha means happiness of Krishna. Hetu means cause. So devotees, they always act for the cause of Krishna's pleasure. Whatever is the best thing for Krishna's pleasure, they will do. Even though that thing might be something very austere for them, even though that thing might be something against their own nature, still devotees, they will come out of their comfort zone to do that thing for Krishna's pleasure. Here we're seeing Vasudeva doing that. His comfort zone is to be a truthful, simple Vaishnava, not to speak any lies, just act very simple and truthful. But for Krishna's pleasure, for the facilitate Krishna's pastimes, he is coming out of his comfort zone, breaking his promise, lying, going behind Kaṁsa's back, acting in a duplicitous way. So this is one very important point or principle Vasudeva is showing by his example. So Vasudeva, in this way, behind Kaṁsa's back, with the assistance of Yogamaya, he carries Krishna to Gokul. Along the way, there's huge thunderstorm, and then we hear about how Ananta Shesh, he manifests himself. Lord Shesha, he's an expansion of Balaram, and it's given that he expands to serve Krishna in many, many different ways. For example, Krishna's bed on which Krishna sleeps, that is also Shesha. Krishna's slippers, that's also Lord Shesha. So in this way, all the different paraphernalia of Krishna, it's all actually expansion of Lord Balaram. So Balaram, in the form of Lord Shesha, he comes and acts as an umbrella to protect Vasudeva and Krishna as they're going to Vrindavan. And at that time, Yamuna Devi, she gives way for Vasudeva to cross across the river. Then Vasudeva finally comes, and then it's given, he switches babies. Now Bhagavatam and the Acharyas, they explain that we'll see in this chapter, chapter 4, Bhagavatam will address Yogamaya as the younger sister of Krishna. Now the Acharyas explain that if Yogamaya is Krishna's younger sister, then Krishna must have also been born from Mother Yasoda. Because that's what we're hearing now, that Mother Yasoda gave birth to a baby girl. And Devaki, she gave birth to Krishna. But then how is it Yogamaya is said to be the younger sister of Krishna? Because she is taking birth from Mother Yasoda, Krishna is taking birth from Devaki. So how can they be related as brother and sister? So the Acharyas, they explain that actually Krishna, he took birth simultaneously from the womb of Mother Devaki and also through the womb of Mother Yasoda. So it's not that Krishna only took birth from Devaki's womb in Mathura, but also it's given simultaneously as Mother Devaki gave birth to Krishna in Mathura. At the exact same time, Mother Yasoda, she also gave birth to Krishna in Vrindavan. And then just after giving birth to Krishna in Vrindavan, Mother Yasoda, she gives birth to a second child, which is a girl and which is Yogamaya. So Devaki, she gives birth to one child, baby Krishna. And this baby Krishna that Devaki gives birth to has 4 arms. So the baby Krishna that Devaki gives birth to, he manifests 4 arms. And simultaneously, at the exact same time, Mother Yasoda in Vrindavan, she also gives birth to baby Krishna. But this baby Krishna in Vrindavan, he just has 2 arms. He's just looking like that. And then just after that, just moments later, after giving birth to baby Krishna, Mother Yasoda, she gives birth to a baby girl also. And this baby girl is Yogamaya. So Mother Yasoda, actually, she gives birth to twins, you can say. Firstly, Krishna comes, then straight after Krishna, a baby girl also comes. And this baby girl is Yogamaya. So when Vasudeva is carrying Krishna from Mathura to Vrindavan, this Krishna that Vasudeva is carrying, this is the Mathura Krishna or Vasudeva Krishna. And the Krishna that Mother Yasoda gave birth to, this is Vrindavan Krishna. So they're 2 different Krishnas. So when Vasudeva, he comes and arrives in Vrindavan, the Vasudeva Krishna from Mathura, he merges or combines with the Vrindavan Krishna, which is present next to Mother Yasoda. So that's what happens when Vasudeva goes and enters Gokula. So the Krishna that Mother Devaki gave birth to, it's different from the Krishna that Mother Yasoda gave birth to. The Krishna that comes from Mother Yasoda, that's Vrindavan Krishna, who always stays in Vrindavan, never leaves. And the Krishna that Mother Devaki gave birth to, that's Vasudeva Krishna, the Krishna that does pastimes in Mathura and Dwarka. So when Vasudeva escapes the prison and goes to Vrindavan, that Vasudeva Krishna merges with the Vrindavan Krishna. And then Vasudeva, he takes the baby girl, which is Yogamaya, back to Mathura. So if we look in Krishna Lila, in Vrindavan, it is given that every day Krishna used to kill many, many demons. Some he would kill before breakfast, some before lunch, and some afterwards in the late evening. So morning, noon, evening, Krishna would kill different demons every day. And the Acharyas explain that actually Vrindavan Krishna, his job is to just enjoy pastimes with his cowherd boyfriends and with the gopis, the younger gopis and the elderly gopis. Vrindavan Krishna, he doesn't kill demons. Because in the spiritual world, there's no such thing as demons. It's just Krishna and his pure devotees. They just enjoy pastimes. So when Krishna is killing demons in Vrindavan, that's not the Vrindavan Krishna that's killing the demons, but that's the Vasudeva Krishna inside Vrindavan Krishna who is doing the killing. So if you look on YouTube, the little Krishna videos, you'll see. When little Krishna is killing these demons, you'll see that Vasudeva Krishna will come out with the weapons to kill these demons. So that is the Vasudeva feature of Krishna that has merged with Vrindavan Krishna. So in this way, Vasudeva, he takes Yogamaya and he brings her to Mathura. And that's where we're up to now. So we're just going to start chapter number 4 of 10 canto, titled The Atrocities of King Kaṁsa. Text number 1. Sukadeva Goswami continued. My dear Parikshit, the doors inside and outside the house closed as before. Thereafter, the inhabitants of the house, especially the watchmen, heard the crying of the newborn child and thus awakened from their beds. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains how when Vasudeva finally brings Yogamaya, baby Yogamaya back, and then all the shackles come back on, and at that time Yogamaya, she removes the covering. Then all the watchmen, they awake from their slumber. And all the watchmen, immediately they hear the loud crying of a baby. And this crying of the baby is so loud, it's going all over the prison. Then immediately the watchmen, they realize, okay, a child has been born. The 8th child of Devaki has been born. Then immediately all the watchmen, they go running to inform Kaṁsa. I was hearing one lecture today by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was talking about body and the soul. We're not this body, we're the soul, and this body is like a machine. And we get different machines in life. When we die, we get another new machine. Like that Prabhupada was explaining. And in the middle of the class, as Prabhupada is making a point, one of his disciples, they had a baby boy or baby girl, and that baby starts crying. And the crying is so loud, it's just going all over the class, and Prabhupada can't continue. But Prabhupada uses the example of that baby to make the point about body and soul. Prabhupada says, just look, just like this baby crying, this baby has this special body by which it can cry so loudly. And Prabhupada is explaining that for us, adults, we can't cry the way babies cry. If a baby cries, Prabhupada explained, now you can hear the crying throughout the whole house. You can hear the crying for 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. Like that, Prabhupada was joking. And that a baby's crying is so loud, it will disturb everyone. But if me and you, as adults, if we wanted to cry, we can't. No matter how hard we try, we can never put out that same volume, that same intensity of crying that a baby does. So in this way, Prabhupada is explaining that this baby, it has a special body by which it can cry in a way in which my body can't cry, your body can't cry. So it has a unique machine which can do a unique function. Like that, Prabhupada used the example of this crying baby as an analogy to help us understand. How we're not this body, the body is actually just a machine, like a robot, and we're just sitting inside this robot, maneuvering it. So when a baby cries, it's very, very loud, and one can immediately hear it, even though one might be far away. So when this baby finally comes, Yogamaya removes the covering, and all the watchmen, they immediately hear the very loud crying of a baby. Immediately they go and inform Kaṁsa. And Prabhupada is quoting Vishnu Chakrari Thakur here in this purport, and Prabhupada is explaining how these watchmen, they were just like dogs, watchdogs that rich people, they keep outside their house. And one time, to help us understand this, Prabhupada in his travels, he had to go all around the world by traveling on airplanes. Every week, every 2 weeks, he was on a flight, going to one part of the world to another. And as we all know, when we go on a flight, when we arrive in a new country, we have to go through the border security, we have to go through customs. And in some countries, the border security, they used to really harass Srila Prabhupada and the devotees a lot, checking all their baggage, open this, open that, what is the purpose of a visit. And this was really annoying for Prabhupada and the devotees. I remember one time, Indradumna Maharaj, he said he was traveling with Srila Prabhupada. He was there in the small group of devotees that was traveling with Srila Prabhupada on the airplane. And they arrived somewhere in America. And then one of the border security, they single out Prabhupada to come out of the line, and they start hassling Srila Prabhupada, telling him to open your suitcase. What is in this? What is this? And Prabhupada opens his suitcase. He has this tilak box where he keeps his tilak. He has his books and different things. And this particular border security person was really getting down to detail. Asking him, open this, show me this, show me that. And he was acting in a very bit of an aggressive way with Srila Prabhupada. And that time, Indradumna Maharaj, he was just a young brahmachari. And actually, His Holiness Indradumna Maharaj, he used to be in the Navy or the Army before, in the American Army. So he's very strongly built, young American brahmachari. And when Indradumna Maharaj, he was seeing this border security person, hassling Srila Prabhupada like this, he just couldn't tolerate it. He immediately went up to this security guy, grabbed him and told him, if you speak to my spiritual master like this one more time, I'm going to punch you straight in the face. Like this, he told to the border security person. And that guy was shocked, and immediately he backed off. And then he replied back, I thought you Hare Krishnas are peaceful people, what is this? You guys are supposed to be peaceful. What is this? You're going to punch me. but he was a bit afraid of Indradurma Maharaj, and then he backed off and let Srila Prabhupada go. So like this, in many places, Prabhupada used to get hassled by the border security. And one time, Prabhupada, he was so fed up with his border security, Prabhupada compared these border security people to dogs. Prabhupada said, these border security people, they're just like watchdogs. They're just always barking. Woof, woof, where is your passport? Woof, woof, show me this. Woof, woof, what is this? Woof, woof, what is that? Like that, Prabhupada was joking about, of course, they're doing their job, but Prabhupada's explaining that as a matter of etiquette, this is not a way you treat a saintly person. A sadhu is coming, that's not the way you're saving. A sadhu is coming, you should, get water, wash his feet, take the chanamrit, sprinkle on your head, do arti to him, offer him lamp, offer him incense. That is the way to receive a sadhu. Give him gifts, arrange nice accommodation, give him prasad. Not, barking, woof, woof, where is passport, what is this, open this, what is the purpose of your visit? What is the purpose of sadhu's visit? Sadhu is coming to preach, to give Divya Gyan, spiritual knowledge. So in this way, Prabhupada used to joke that these border security people, they're just like watchdogs. So in the same way, Prabhupada is explaining, the Acharya is explaining, that these prison guards, they were just like watchdogs here. They heard the baby crying, immediately they go and they start informing Kaṁsa. Okay, text 2. Thereafter all the watchmen very quickly approached King Kaṁsa, the ruler of the Bhoja dynasty, and submitted the news of the birth of Devaki's child. Kaṁsa, who had awaited this news very anxiously, immediately took action. Kaṁsa immediately got up from bed thinking, here is Kala, the supreme time factor, which has taken birth to kill me. Thus overwhelmed, Kaṁsa, his hair scattered on his head, at once approached the place where the child had been born. Devaki helplessly, piteously appealed to Kaṁsa. My dear brother, all good fortune unto you. Don't kill this girl. She will be your daughter-in-law. Indeed, it is unworthy of you to kill a woman. My dear brother, by the influence of destiny, you have already killed many babies, each of them as bright and beautiful as fire. But kindly spare this daughter. Give her to me as your gift. So in this section, Prabhupada is explaining in his purports that Devaki, she was a very noble person. Prabhupada is explaining that actually this child that Vasudeva and Devaki have, it's not actually their child. It's another person's child. Their child is safe in Vrindavan. So they have nothing to fear. But although this child is not their child, still Devaki is helplessly trying to protect the child because it's someone else's child. So technically, Prabhupada explains that Devaki, she could have just relaxed. Okay, I'm safe. My child is far away. Kaṁsa doesn't know. My child is safe. She didn't have any reason to struggle so hard to save this particular baby because it's not hers. But she was a very noble personality and she still wanted to protect this baby girl, although it's not her child. And Prabhupada is explaining here in the purports that Devaki, she was a daughter of a Kshatriya. And Prabhupada explains that these Kshatriya girls, not only were the Kshatriya men very knowledgeable in politics and so on and so forth, but even the princesses and the queens in Vedic culture who were of a Kshatriya caste, they also knew politics. And how so? Prabhupada is explaining here in this purport that here Devaki, she is using different means of political talking to try and stop Kaṁsa to kill this baby. And Prabhupada explains that in politics there is 4 principles that are used to defeat or overtake an enemy. And one is Sama, Dhamma, Dana and Danda. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains that the first one is Dhamma. Dhamma means repression. So these are 4 principles, according to politics, how one can overcome one's enemy. So the first principle is Dhamma. Dhamma means repression. You try and attack and repress the opponent by attacking them directly. Then next comes Sama. If attacking them doesn't work, then you do Sama. Sama means you try and make some compromise with the enemy. Initially you try and attack and overpower them, but if the enemy is too powerful to overpower, then you try and make some compromise. Then, number 3, Prabhupada explains, is dana, which is charity. You ask for something in charity from the opponent. You try and go for their soft side and beg in charity. Okay, I'm helpless, please give me something in charity. Then another principle Prabhupada explains is danda. When nothing works, when repression doesn't work, when compromise doesn't work, when asking for something in charity doesn't work, then you go for the kill. You show them the stick. Danda, that's the only thing that will work. We look in Mahabharata, same thing the Pandavas tried with Duryodhana. If you remember the Pandavas, they had sent Krishna as a messenger to Duryodhana. And Krishna, very humbly, as a messenger, he was asking Duryodhana, that just give up, stop this conflict, let this war not happen, just give us 5 villages in charity. And what did Duryodhana say? I will not even give charity, I will not even give land which will occupy the space of, a tip of a needle. So Duryodhana, he was so arrogant. So this is an example of Krishna and the Pandavas using the tactic of dana, please give us in charity. When that didn't work, they went for danda. Then they went for war. So here Mother Devaki, first she's using dhamma or repression. First she's trying to attack Kaṁsa by heavy words, saying, Kaṁsa, you're so merciless, you've already killed so many children, why you're going to kill another child and commit more sins and get more sinful reactions? This is not good. So first she attacks Kaṁsa with heavy words. Then she goes to sama or compromise. Then she immediately switches her words and she says that, okay, you've killed so many children, but actually it's not your fault. Actually it's all destiny. Without the will of destiny, nothing can happen. Actually it was destiny that all my children died. Okay, it's destiny's fault, but now you let this child go. Like this she says. Then she goes to dana or asking for a gift. She tried first repression, she then tried compromise, it didn't work. Then she's going to plan number C, which is dana, which means to beg something in charity. Then she starts begging that, please, I am your sister, you please just gift me this baby girl as charity to me. Just gift this to me as a gift to your sister. Like this she starts begging Kaṁsa. But we'll see in the coming verses that Kaṁsa, he was so much overcome by selfishness that nothing worked. He didn't listen. Now we'll see how he'll try and kill this baby girl. Prabhupada explains that this is the nature of demons. For their own benefit, they can do anything and everything. Just for their own sake. Even the most sinful thing, a demon will be ready to do. Just for his own selfish desires. Whereas on the other hand, devotees, Prabhupada explains, they're complete opposite. For the sake of someone else's benefit, devotees, they can tolerate anything. Just like I was hearing one conversation between Srila Prabhupada and Yamuna Mataji. She was in Vrindavan, she was having some trouble in some service she was doing, and she was coming and talking with Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was explaining to Mother Yamuna that while we're engaged in devotional service, there will always be some austerity, there will always be some difficulty, and these difficulties that come in any service we do, we just have to tolerate. That is just the nature of this world. Any service we do, there'll always be some difficulty, there'll always be some austerity. And Prabhupada explained to her that we just have to tolerate and keep going on. For the sake of Krishna, for the sake of others. And at that time, there was some construction work going in the house where Prabhupada was living in Vrindavan. And the construction work was going right on top of Srila Prabhupada, on the roof. So right on top of Srila Prabhupada, you could hear someone banging, on the roof. Like that. And Prabhupada pointed to the roof and told Yamuna, just look at this, just hear this. During the whole day, I can hear this construction work, bang, 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 bang on my roof. When these construction people are banging on the roof, it's as if someone is banging on my head like this. But what to do? I just have to tolerate. I have to go on with my translation work. I can't do anything about it. So in the same way, just like I'm tolerating this banging on my head, in the same way, you also have to tolerate. You also have to continue on with your devotional service. Another pastime I was hearing today, this is given in Lilamrit. Prabhupada is was in America. He had just recently conducted an initiation ceremony. And not only did he do an initiation, but he also did a marriage straight after the initiation. So he initiated one Prabhu and one Mataji, and then straight after that he also married those two devotees. So these newly two initiated devotees, they got married, and then Prabhupada sent them off to preach to Mexico. So from America, this newly married couple, these newly initiated devotees, they went from America to Mexico. Just 1 week later, Prabhupada gets a letter from Mexico, from the Prabhuji that he had initiated. And this Prabhu is telling Srila Prabhupada in a letter, just 1 week later after their marriage, that my wife has ran away. She has gone off with another man. I don't know what to do, Prabhupada. I'm distressed. Please help. And then Prabhupada has to pacify this person, telling, no, it's okay. Everything will be all right. And then when this person is gone, then Prabhupada, he laments to his servants that, what is this? I am a sannyasi. I shouldn't be dealing with all this. I should be dealing with all these family affairs, doing marriages, fixing marriages. This is not the business of a sadhu. I should just go back to Vrindavan and do my bhajan. Why did I come here? Like this Prabhupada was saying. But still Prabhupada continues on to preach in America and all these other cities around the world. Still Prabhupada continued to arrange marriages and solve all these problems of devotees. So much headache and problems Prabhupada had to tolerate for the sake of Krishna's pleasure. So this Prabhupada explains is the nature of devotees. On one side we have demons. For their own sense gratification, they can do any kind of sinful activity. They can kill their own sister, they can kill a baby, as we're seeing with Kaṁsa's example. On the other hand, we have devotees who are so noble, who are so selfless for the benefit of others, not for their own sake, but for the benefit of others. They can tolerate anything and everything. That's why it's given Trinadapi Sunichana Taroriva Sasushana. That devotees, they're just like a tree. That's how tolerant devotees are. So Srila Prabhupada, he was especially extremely tolerant. If you look at Srila Prabhupada, he's coming from Vrindavan. He's been trained in Gaudiya Math. His background is completely different, to the background of the people who he was preaching to. The people who he was preaching to, they're just hippies. They're just coming off drugs and, they have so much problems. They don't know any etiquette. I was hearing how in the early days in New York, Prabhupada, he used to share one small apartment with a few of the new bhaktas. And these new bhaktas, you would expect they would act as Prabhupada's servants and assist Srila Prabhupada. But actually it was the other way around. Although Prabhupada was 70 years old and these new bhaktas were 20 years old, Prabhupada was acting like their servant. Prabhupada was cooking for them, and after cooking for them, Prabhupada himself would clean and wash all the dishes. And Prabhupada was literally spoon-feeding all these new bhaktas, although he's 50 years older than them. So there's Prabhupada and there's these four new bhaktas, they're all staying together in a small flat, and there is only one bathroom. And Prabhupada had to share this bathroom with these other four young new bhaktas. And it's given Prabhupada used to wait in line to use the toilet. Can you imagine? The Jagat Guru has to wait in line to use the bathroom. One new bhakta will go first, then the second new bhakta will go, and then Prabhupada will very patiently wait outside the toilet. When his turn will come, then Prabhupada will go use the bathroom after waiting for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So in this way, in the early days, this is how humble Srila Prabhupada was, how tolerant Srila Prabhupada was. He knew that these Westerners, these people in New York, they don't know any etiquette, how one should receive a sadhu, how one should deal with a spiritual master. He ignored all their faults, he just saw their good qualities, he was very tolerant, he was very patient with them. And Prabhupada used to share an apartment with these four young bhaktas, and Prabhupada used to wait in line to use the bathroom. Prabhupada used to cook for them, he used to wash the dishes afterwards. So much tolerance we can see Prabhupada displayed, so much patience Prabhupada displayed. On the other hand, we have demons like Kaṁsa. Just for a small desire of theirs, they can do any sinful activity. They can even kill their own sister, they can even kill a small baby. Okay, text number 6. My Lord, my brother, I am very poor, being bereft of all my children, but still I am your younger sister, and therefore it would be worthy of you to give me this last child as a gift. Sukadeva Goswami continued, Piteously embracing her daughter and crying, Devaki begged Kaṁsa for the child. But he was so cruel that he chastised her and forcibly snatched the child from her hands. Having uprooted all relationships with his sister because of intense selfishness, Kaṁsa, who was sitting on his knees, grasped the newborn child by the legs and tried to dash her against the surface of a stone. The child Yogamaya Devi, the younger sister of Lord Vishnu, slipped upwards from Kaṁsa's hands and appeared in the sky as Devi, the goddess Durga, with 8 arms, completely equipped with weapons. So despite his sister begging at his feet, please let go of this child. Please give this child to me as a gift. Still Kaṁsa, because Bhagavatam explains, because of extreme selfishness, intense selfishness, he ignored the request, he ignored the crying of his sister, and is given. He was so blinded by selfishness, without any compassion, without any heart, he grabbed the baby by the legs. And he picked up the baby by the legs and he threw the baby down to smash her on the floor, on the stone. Then Bhagavatam explains that as Kaṁsa is grabbing the baby, Yogamaya, and trying to dash her against the ground, the baby, it comes out of his hands and immediately leaps up into the sky. So you can imagine the baby is being thrown down, but the baby, it comes back, flies up into the sky, and the Acharyas explain, as the baby is flying up in the sky, assuming the form of Durga Devi, the baby first steps on Kaṁsa's head and uses Kaṁsa's head as a stepping stone to jump up into the sky. So you can imagine Kaṁsa trying to throw Yogamaya down, and the Yogamaya, just coming up, stepping on Kaṁsa's head, using Kaṁsa's head as a springboard to jump up into the sky. And then the baby manifests as Durga Devi. And Durga Devi appears with 8 arms with different weapons in all the 8 arms. And it's given Durga Devi, she appears with different weapons just to scare Kaṁsa. So in this way, Mother Durga, she makes her appearance. The goddess Durga was decorated with flower garlands, smeared with sandalwood pulp, and dressed with excellent garments and ornaments made of valuable jewels. Holding in her hands a bow, a trident, arrows, a shield, a sword, a conch shell, a disc, and a club, and being praised by celestial beings like Apsaras, Kinnaras, Uragas, Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas, who worshipped her with all kinds of presentations, she spoke as follows. O Kaṁsa, you fool! What will be the use of killing me, the Supreme Personality Godhead, who has been your enemy from the very beginning, and who will certainly kill you, has already taken his birth somewhere else. Therefore, do not unnecessarily kill other children. After speaking to Kaṁsa in this way, the goddess Durga, Yogamaya, appeared in different places, such as Varanasi, and became celebrated by different names, such as Annapurna, Durga, Kali, and Bhadra. After hearing the words of the goddess Durga, Kaṁsa was struck with wonder. Thus he approached his sister Devaki and brother-in-law Vasudeva, released them immediately from their shackles, and very humbly spoke as follows. Alas, my sister, alas, my brother-in-law, I am indeed so sinful that exactly like a man-eater, a Rakshasa, who eats his own child, I have killed so many sons born of you. So when Durga Devi, she manifests herself in the sky in her 8-armed form, she immediately chastises Kaṁsa. That, you fool, what are you doing? Why are you trying to kill me? What is the use of killing me? The person who is going to kill you is already born somewhere else. And very soon he'll come and kill you. So in this way, Mother Durga, she chastises Kaṁsa. Now when Kaṁsa sees this, he is completely struck with wonder. Because Prabhupada explains that actually Kaṁsa, he used to worship Durga Devi. Prabhupada explains that for demoniac people, demons in general, for atheists, they like to worship Durga Devi for material power, so on and so forth. So actually Kaṁsa, he was a big devotee, he was a big bhakta of Durga Devi. Now his most worshipful deity, he is seeing right in front of him. And who gave birth to his most worshipful deity? According to his thinking, his understanding, his own sister Devaki has given birth to his most worshipful deity, Durga Devi. So now he's completely in awe and reverence that, oh my God, my worshipful deity, Durga Devi, has come from the womb of my sister. That means my sister is no ordinary person. She must be a great, very great personality, that she has given birth to the person whom I worship. So then immediately he becomes very fearful that, oh my God, for so long, I have been harassing my sister Devaki, keeping her in prison, killing all her children. But she is such a great personality. She has given birth to Durga Devi. So now he starts feeling repentant. So immediately he removes all the shackles of Devaki and Vasudeva. And now we're going to see how he's going to repent at the feet of his sister and his brother-in-law, begging forgiveness. Please forgive me. I didn't know what I was doing. He's saying, I am a Rakshasa. I am just like a man-eater who eats his own children. Like this, Kaṁsa will put himself down and Kaṁsa will beg forgiveness. And Prabhupada explained this is the nature of demons. They'll just switch back and forth like this. One minute they'll be your best friends, being very humble that, I am a Rakshasa, I am fallen, please forgive me. Next moment, they will arrest you, they'll be ready to chop off your head. So this, dual personality we'll see back and forth with Kaṁsa. Firstly, he's very lovingly taking the chariot of Devaki and Vasudeva, They've just been recently married, and Kaṁsa, out of love for his sister, is saying, I will drive you to your new home, don't worry. I am your brother, I will drive you personally to the house of your husband. So 1 minute, he's acting very nicely, as a very loving brother of Devaki. Next moment, when he hears the Akashvani, he's immediately grabbing the hair of his sister and ready to chop off her head. Then now again we're seeing he's again flipping back again, saying, oh, please forgive me, sorry, I didn't know what I was doing. You're very merciful. Actually, it's all destiny. It's not my fault. I was just helplessly a tool in the hands of destiny. Actually, Krishna is the real cause of whatever has happened. The Supreme Lord, destiny, Vishnu, he is the supreme control of everything. So because of his desire, all these children were killed. I am just an instrument. How can you blame the instrument? So you shouldn't be angry at me. Please forgive me. Don't be angry at me. Like this, Kaṁsa will try and speak philosophy and try and beg forgiveness from Devaki and Vasudeva. Then again, later on, we'll see again he'll switch, again he'll arrest Vasudeva and Devaki. So this is the nature of demons. 1 second they'll be your best friend, next moment they will be your worst enemy. That's why Prabhupada says, one should never trust a demon. For their own sense gratification, they can do anything and everything. Prabhupada explains in this world there are 2 types of snakes. There is the animal snake and there is the person snake. And Prabhupada explains, out of these 2 types of snake, the person snake is much more dangerous than the animal snake. Why? Because the animal snake, you can somehow or other pacify. You can chant some different mantras, herbs, this and that. You can somehow or other tame a snake, pacify a snake, and bring the snake under control. But a person snake, no matter how hard you try and pacify, he won't be pacified. He'll always act like a crazy person. He'll always be very cruel. He'll always be very vicious. And Prabhupada says, Kaṁsa, he is like that. He is a person snake. He can never be trusted. No matter how much good advice you try and give him, he'll always be very vicious. He'll always be very cruel. And one should never trust such a personality. So in life, sometimes we'll also come across persons like this, persons like Kaṁsa. So we should keep a bit of distance and be a bit wary. Although sometimes they might, externally, put up a show of being very nice and kind-hearted. We should understand, Prabhupada explains, that a karmi, one who is not a devotee of the Lord, you shouldn't put your faith in him, you shouldn't put your trust in him. Any moment he can flip like that, just like we're seeing with Kaṁsa. So now Kaṁsa, he will try and appeal to the soft side of his sister and Vasudeva. Being merciless and cruel I have forsaken all my relatives and friends. Therefore, like a person who has killed a Brahmana, I do not know to which planet I shall go, either after death or while breathing. Alas, not only human beings, but sometimes even providence lies. Am I so sinful that I believe the omen of providence and killed so many of my sister's children? O great souls, your children have suffered their own misfortune. Therefore, please do not lament for them. All living entities are under the control of the Supreme, and they cannot always live together. So firstly, he chastised himself, saying, oh, I am just like a Rakshasa, I am like a man-eater, I am so merciless, I am so cruel, I don't know which hellish planet I will go to. Then immediately he switches and tells Devaki that actually, you shouldn't blame me, I am not at fault. Why? Because we all have our own karma. So it was the karma of all your sons to die when they're born. So I'm not to be blamed. The person you should blame is the Supreme Lord. The person you should blame is the babies themselves. They must have done a lot of sinful activities in their past life, due to which they got a lot of bad karma, and due to the bad karma, they got killed at birth. And I was just an instrument. So it is just the karma of your children, they had to die. Like this Kaṁsa is trying to preach philosophy, speaks philosophy to his sister. And then he's saying that everything's under the Supreme Lord's control. We can't always be together with our dear and loved ones. It's given, the Shastras explain that time is just like a river. And just like in a river there are waves, in the same way in the river of time there are different waves. And just like in a river, by the power of the waves, two different sticks, they will come and stick together for a certain period of time. But then again, by the power of the waves, the sticks will separate and go off. In the same way, Bhagavatam explains, in the same way in the river of time, by the power of the waves of time, we'll come across and join together with a certain group of other souls or jivas as a family for one particular lifetime. But then again, another wave of time will come, then again we'll be separated. Then again this stick will go one way, this stick will go another way. Then this stick will combine with another group of sticks somewhere else, and this stick will combine with another group of sticks somewhere else. Then again, the waves of the river will separate them. So in this way, Bhagavatam explains that time is just like that. Time is just like a river, and the waves in this river of time is combining different living entities together as families, and then separating them again at the time of death. So all this philosophy, Kaṁsa is trying to tell to his sister and Vasudeva. In this world, we can see that pots, dolls, and other products of the earth appear, break, and then disappear, mixing with the earth. Similarly, the bodies of all conditioned souls are annihilated, but the living entities, like the earth itself, are unchanging and never annihilated. Na hanyamane sharire. So he's saying that actually we're not the body, we're the soul. So I just killed the body of your children. But the soul of your children, they're eternal. So why are you lamenting? Just the bodies are dead. All the children I killed, they are the soul, they will get a nice brand new body in the next life. So no need to lament. Like this, all this philosophy Kaṁsa is using in a wrong way to preach to his sister and Vasudeva. One who does not understand the constituent position of the body and the soul becomes too attached to the bodily concept of life. Consequently, because of attachment to the body and its byproducts, he feels affected by union with and separation from his family, society, and nation. As long as this continues, one continues his material life. Otherwise, one is liberated. I'll skip some verses, continue on. Okay, text number 25. When Devaki saw her brother actually repentant while explaining ordained events, she was relieved of all anger. Similarly, Vasudeva was also free of anger. Smiling, he spoke to Kaṁsa as follows. So now Bhagavatam is explained, after all this philosophical talk by Kaṁsa, it is given that Vasudeva and Devaki, they completely let go of whatever ill feelings they had towards Kaṁsa, which is quite astonishing if you think. We can try and put ourselves in that position. Imagine we're in the position of Vasudeva and Devaki, and someone has killed 6 of our children already, right at the time of birth. 6 of our babies, a particular person has killed. And now that person is feigning humility, faking humility, and trying to preach us philosophy. that actually, you shouldn't be angry at me. It's all destiny. Actually, we're not the body, we're the soul. Actually, I just killed the body of your baby, but the soul is eternal. We will continue to live on eternally. So don't be angry at me. If that person who killed 6 of our babies speaks like that to us, would we let go of our anger? Would we let go of our ill feelings to that person? Definitely not. We will completely ignore and still, get the police to arrest that guy, put him in prison for life. But just see the nature of Vasudeva and Devaki. It's Bhagavatam is explaining that when they saw Kaṁsa being repentant, they immediately gave up all anger and all ill feelings they had towards Kaṁsa. So from this we can see how soft-hearted are the hearts of pure devotees of the Lord. It's given by the Acharyas that if we want Krishna to come and reside in our hearts, then we have to make our hearts as soft like butter. Because Krishna is always looking for soft things, especially soft butter. And that's why the Acharyas explain that we need to melt our heart into such a condition that it will be very, very soft, just like fresh butter. Then Krishna will come into our heart to steal that butter. Otherwise, Krishna won't reside in the hearts. So here we're seeing the softness of Devaki and Vasudeva's hearts. Here is one person who has killed 6 of their children very mercilessly, just at the time of their birth. But now, he's just showing some fake repentance, fake humility, but still they're so kind and soft-hearted, they're so magnanimous, immediately they're forgiving Kaṁsa. Immediately they're letting go of all ill feelings towards Kaṁsa. And if we try and put ourselves in that position, we can imagine, we will never think that way. We can never act in such a way. So the level of pure devotee is completely beyond us. They're completely on a different platform. So from this we're seeing the exemplary quality of forgiveness that pure devotees of Lord are able to exemplify. So this is given as one of very high qualities that a Vaishnava has. This quality of forgiveness. Rana Maharaj, he says that first comes gratitude. After gratitude, if we're able to display gratitude, then we can go to the next level and display humility. Then after humility comes compassion. Then after compassion comes forgiveness. So forgiveness is like level 4. It's like right there at the top. To be genuinely forgiving, to genuinely forget the mistakes and ill deeds of others, it requires great spiritual strength, it requires great spiritual advancement. Only if someone is passed through the level of gratitude, passed through the level of humility, passed through the level of compassion, only then can he display forgiveness. Like that we're seeing Vasudeva and Devaki displaying. So first we need to be grateful. If we're naturally grateful for everything that's coming our way, then naturally we'll be humble. That, I'm so small and insignificant, but still so many great things are being bestowed upon me. I don't deserve this, and that way we'll be very humble. Then when we're humble, we will look outside and we'll see other people not as fortunate as us. Then we'll start feeling compassionate for them. That these other persons, they're just like me. I'm very fallen, but still I've got so much mercy from Krishna and the Vaishnavas. They also deserve this mercy. They're just like me. So let me go out and help them. So in this way, one starts being compassionate. Then one step beyond compassion is forgiveness. So this quality of forgiveness is now being shown by Devaki and Vasudeva. His Holiness Bhakti Rasamitra Maharaj, he was explaining in one class how devotees, they should always remember 2 things and they should always forget 2 things. So what are 2 things we should always remember? He says 2 things we should always remember is, number 1, we should always remember the good things other devotees or other people have done for us. So that is number 1. So this is something we should always remember. We should always remember what are all the good things others have done for us. And we should never forget. Second thing we should always remember is the bad things we have done to other people. And what are 2 things we should forget? Number 1, we should forget the good things we have done for others. And number 2, we should forget the bad things others have done to us. So this, His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrama Maharaj says, these are 2 things we should always remember and 2 things we should forget. We should always remember the good things others have done for us, and that way we're always very grateful. we are maintaining this attitude of gratefulness towards others. And we should always remember the bad things we've done to others, and that way, again, it puts us in a very humble position. That, I'm done so many bad things to others, but still devotees are tolerating me, still they're accepting my service. So in this way, one is put in a very humble and grateful position. And two things one should always remember. Two things one should forget. He should forget the good things he has done for others. Otherwise, if we're always remembering, for this person I did this, for this person I did that, then naturally it will give rise to some pride or some false ego. And some fruitive mentality might come up. That, Prabhuji, I did this for you, so you should also do something for me in return. So in this way, some business-like transaction happens amongst friends or devotees. If we remember the things we've done for others. That, okay, I did this for you, so you should also give me something back, So this way it becomes like a business. And also it can lead to pride and false ego. So that's why we should forget whatever good things we did for others. Just out of love, as a matter of duty, we should serve others. And we should also forget the bad things others have done to us. Because this will just lead to us going backwards in our spiritual life. It's not going to help us, it's not going to help anyone else. And this we're seeing displayed by Devaki and Vasudeva. In a second, they're immediately forgetting all the bad things Kaṁsa has done to us. So to be able to do that, it requires a lot of spiritual strength to forgive and forget whatever bad things others have done to us. So with that, we need great spiritual strength, and we can pray to Shri Shri Radha Gopinath for that strength, and they will help us. Okay, we'll stop here. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Tagore Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol.